Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode number 151. This is the show where we talk about video games and gamer-related things. My name is Frank from Palmanso, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm joined by the co-hosts of the show. First, we have Alex Nunez. What's up, sir?
Not much, man. I think other than feeling like a broken man for reasons I'll probably get into later, I'm okay. Other than that.
Oh man, a broken man.
That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's disheartening.
A little bit.
I hope that we can get to the root of the problem, and then we'll make you an unbroken man, a fixed man, a changed man, if any.
We can hope. We can hope.
We'll see. So we also have Khalik Dorset. What's up, man?
I'm pretty good. I've been binge watching like way too much shows, like way too much.
I've also been binge watching a show. It's great. It's a great show.
Can you say it
What show? What show?
What is it?
It's This Is Us.
Oh, yeah.
On NBC.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay.
It's like NBC's like latest drama. It's been really popular. It's gotten really like awesome reviews, and it's already finished its first season. It already got picked up for 2 more seasons.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I was, like it's been on the news. It's won some Emmys, I think, already. But I was just like, I was actually trying to watch Iron Fist, and I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. It's so bad.
How far did you get?
I'm on episode 4.
Oh,
So I watched the first 3 episodes, right? And then I was about to watch the 4th episode. I sat down and it was queued up and it was ready to go. And I literally said to myself, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't do this. And so I said, like, let me just see if there's something else that I can watch, at least for now, just to take up my time. So I'm like, let me try watching This Is Us, because it was there on Hulu. And I'm like, okay. So I watched the first episode and I'm like, oh God. Like the show, why is the show so good already? So I watched the first 5 episodes straight, and it's an hour-long show. Then the following day, my wife came back from a conference, and I told her I started watching it. She's like, "Why'd you start watching that show without me?" And then I'm like, "Wait, just calm down. I'll watch it with you again." Mm-hmm. But I had actually at that point I had watched the next 5 episodes, so I was already 10 episodes in.
God damn,
dude!
Yeah, in 2 days.
Can I ask? I heard that show. I mean, I could tell from the tone you made earlier that it gets quite emotional.
Oh my God! Yeah, man, it's like crazy. It's so, and it's not like necessarily in like a Debbie Downer sort of way, but it's just in a way it's like real things happening to real people, and the whole story surrounding everything is really touching.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Parenthood by NBC.
No, I heard that was good too.
Yeah, I believe it's some of the creators came over from This Is Us. I've only seen a few episodes of that show, and just from what I was able to gather, that show it's similar, and it deals with some real stuff. Not really not a real depressing show, because it has some really strong moments too, really like upbeat. But man, when it gets sad, it gets sad. Yeah, like real life sad.
Yeah, like it's real stuff. The reason why I even like knew about the show or was on my radar was because that in the show there's a black character, and this character is actually like a successful black person.
Yeah.
In the business world, and he has a good job, he has a good home, great car, big family. And there was an article that I had read online about how there was one episode of the show in the first season that explained perfectly what it was like to be, the struggle of being a successful black person in America. And there's always that whole, like, on one end, you are successful, you've achieved great things, but on the other end, it's always, there's the fact that you're black, that people don't believe you. Yeah. People don't think you deserve all of the things that you have. And so that resonated with me on a certain level. And I was just like, I need to see that show, if anything, for that episode. And pretty much from the beginning that the character is like that. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Okay.
So that's the only reason that show was on my radar. So yeah, but everything else around that specific character is also like really like, oh wow, they're dealing with like real issues like fat shaming, being shallow, imperfect marriages, betrayal. It's just, there's a lot of things going on, but it's all like shit that could really happen like to you in your family, you know, depending on your situation. So I highly recommend watching the show if you get around to it. If it's not your type of show, then yeah, sure, don't bother. But
wow, man, I mean, you kind of sold me on it already just from everything you're saying.
Well,
it is.
I'm already. I watched 10 episodes in 2 days, and
wow.
Actually, me and my wife watched 3 more episodes. I actually just finished watching one episode just a couple hours ago.
Oh wow!
And there are 18 episodes in the season, and we're on episode 14 now. Going to episode 14 now. So.
Wow, yeah. Man. I feel funny because I literally only knew about the show because I guess like the main white actor of the show is he was the original Green Arrow on Smallville.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's like all I knew about it. Then I heard the other stuff. But it's funny you talk about dealing with black issues, and I started watching Dear White People on Netflix.
Oh, how was that?
That show is amazing.
Really? Is it like? Did you see the movie?
No, I did not see the movie, and it's unfortunate because I hear that this is almost I won't call it a remake,
a retelling.
Yeah, it's a retelling of the movie story.
Okay,
and I thought just from the first episode and the way they set up, at least the way they set up the plot, and just from like the first 5 minutes, it's like we're here, we're addressing it immediately.
Yeah,
this is kind of
putting it right out there.
It goes hard in that, and I went, I wasn't expecting it to just not shy away from all this stuff. And it was awesome. Honestly, really cool show. Might be one of my favorite shows I've watched in a long time. And
nice.
Yeah. So that was good. And I've been watching Sons of Anarchy, which
cool.
I had a lot of people, including our other friend, Alex Fred, who I used to the Slamcast with. And they were always telling me about it. I'm 6 seasons in.
Oh,
that seemed fast. It seemed like only a few weeks ago you just started that show.
Well, it's actually no. I started the show a year ago.
Oh, okay.
And I took a break after 3 seasons because I felt you can watch the first 3 seasons and you don't have to watch the rest of the show. It kind of ends on a very solid note. But I just recently started watching the 4th season on, and that show is just very uncomfortable. It's bad people doing bad things.
Oh, man.
Bad people doing very bad things. And every season they go to heights that I didn't think they would go to. Like the show starts off, I think I can say this. The show starts off with a pregnant mother, doing heroin and then having a premature baby. Like it's not.
Wow.
Like it's like, wow, it's like a lot. And
just throw you right in there.
Yeah. And it just like addresses the whole biker gang thing and a lot of certain questions about biker gangs. Like, oh, are they racist? The answer is kinda.
I don't know.
The answer is like definitely yes, but not as bad as you think it is. It's quite interesting in how they go on certain points. But yeah, I'm at a point where I spend like this weekend, I watched like 8 episodes a day.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I've definitely watched like 18 episodes altogether. And I'm like midway in the 6th season right now. It's just so much I had to stop. It's just very, not depressing, but I know it's going to get depressing because I just have dread. It's just straight up dread. Good show, really cool show. I don't think it's for everyone. I really don't. But yeah, really cool show. But
all right, well, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that. Binge habits are pretty common. People, when you find a good show, that you just watch it all of it.
Yeah. Oh, well, last thing, the first 3 episodes of Iron Fist are like the worst episodes. I'm not saying the rest of the show is a lot better, but the first 3 are definitely the worst episodes of that show.
You probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, there goes our Netflix sponsorship.
Oh.
No, but I saw that famous fight that was made famous online or infamous online.
Yeah,
it was like the fight with like 55 cuts.
Yeah, no, that's actually terrible. Like,
oh my god, it was so like so bad.
I gotta say, and I'm not trying to dog the show way too much, but it was very noticeable when it happened because you watch Daredevil, which has fantastic choreography.
Yeah.
And the cinematography around fights is amazing. And then you get here, and I was very confused at what was happening. I actually rewinded. The whole fight because I didn't think that happened. I was like, that's a little too much.
Yo, every little thing. Like, they would do like 2 cuts per like punch thrown. And I'm like, no. They would show him wind up for a punch. They would show him throw the punch. And then they would these are cuts. And then they would cut to him like about to land the punch. And then they would show him landing the punch. And then they would show the guy falling. 3 cuts for him to fall to the floor.
Yeah.
What?
Like, it's
horrific.
It's like that cut of Taken 3. I don't know if you've seen it, where Liam Neeson's trying to climb a fence and it cuts like 13 times because Liam Neeson is too old to climb a fence. Yeah.
Stunt doubles.
That's like some real excessive editing right there. I'm like, was that all necessary? Holy shit.
Yo.
There is a real life reason as to why some of that happened. Because I found like the main actor did come out and say, I was learning martial arts on set before scenes sometimes. And I was like, I feel like that's a problem that could have been fixed. That's not his fault. That's not his fault. That's not his fault necessarily, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, look, I hear you, Frank. I hear it. I wouldn't be mad if you didn't finish it.
Well, my wife finished the whole series, and I was just like, so what'd you think? She was like, it's not great. And she's pretty optimistic when it comes to a lot of things. She's like, it's not great. And she's like, it's actually not good either. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I want to say, well, I know you, especially as an action movie fan, martial arts film fan, definitely, and an active practitioner of martial arts.
Yeah.
There are some problems. There are some problems that I know that shouldn't happen, but it's okay, I guess. Is it bad? That's the best thing I can say about it. But if you don't lose sleep.
When I saw that Defenders trailer, I'm like, okay. And then I saw him do like the kick off the wall to punch the dude. I'm like, but maybe now he's actually trained. It seems. But
have you seen the bob and weave GIF that they have?
The Jessica Jones Twitter account was... I know the GIF had existed prior to, but like the Jessica Jones Twitter account, they kind of jumped on that and took this GIF of the action right before Iron Fist jumped. Like he's about to like get in on the action after like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are like punching fools. And I think the body of the tweet was something like, when the rest of your friends need your help, but you're like useless, and you just see Iron Fist going back and forth like, okay, when am I going to go in?
Okay, so...
I actually noticed that in the trailer. Like, he wasn't doing anything. Like, you saw, like, Daredevil was in the background, and so was Elektra. And then Luke Cage and Jessica Jones were in the front. And then, he was kind of, like, waiting for that moment.
It's almost reminiscent of watching people play Double Dutch as a kid. I think that's the perfect encapsulation of what that looks like. Yeah.
This is all right. Right now. Okay. This is it. This is the moment. It's going to happen.
Yeah. So, hopefully we'll see. Yeah. Also, by the way, the new Avengers show is being made by the guy that made Iron Fist. I'm going to stop here. But I had to throw that out there just to
The new Avengers show?
I'm sorry, Inhumans. The new Inhumans show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's it. We don't need to go down that hole. I'm just letting you know for the future.
Well, I mean, we've already gone pretty far down the hole. But we're going to stop here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're done.
So let's start the show. The video game show, right? This is a video game show.
That's right? What I was told.
Last time I checked. Yeah. So let's start the episode with what we've been playing. And Alex, you're up first. So what you got for us?
So I finally got the chance to finish a game on my backlog.
Nice.
I finally put the bow and the kibosh on Phoenix Wright's Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice.
Spirit of Justice.
I was very sad that I didn't finish it earlier, because usually I just play those games in one shot. But there was so much other stuff coming out, and I was like, man, you know what? Actually, what started this, I started playing a little bit more of Picross, just going back and resolving puzzles I had solved before, because I had that junk itch.
Oh, yeah.
Then I realized Phoenix Wright needed to be finished, so I did it. And man, that I love this game. I really do. The story, the way it wraps up, especially in that last case. Oh man, they introduced some stuff about some characters in the game and in the franchise, and I gotta say, like, really the one thing I really wanted to talk about is this kind of okie doke that the game pulls, or that they pulled on me. I don't know how many other people would have been affected, but a lot of times when I play these games in the cases, they're leading to certain things, to certain revelations, and sometimes those revelations are pretty obvious, at least I feel. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking ahead to like, okay, I already know that this person isn't who they say they are, and we have to go through all the steps to prove it in the court case, and that's how it's written in the story. And I'm only thinking one move ahead, while the game is obviously thinking like, all the way towards the end. And once that revelation hits, and I'm like, see, I knew it. I knew that person wasn't who they said they were. And then other things started getting revealed as a result of that. And man, I was not emotionally prepared for that next revelation after that initial revelation. So it's like the game was like pulled some misdirection on me. Like, hey, okay, we're going to prove this thing. Obviously something's not right here. And I'm like, okay, I figured that out already. But then they had this other thing going on in the background that I was not expecting. And again, it was like an emotional gut punch. It was not something I expected, especially because I didn't feel like I had a lot of investment with the certain characters that were involved, but still, like, I don't know, I couldn't help feel but some sort of like empathy for the other characters involved, and I was like, oh my god. And as I made that revelation, like literally, like my eyes were welling up with tears. I was like, oh no,
wow,
oh no,
Oh.
this is going to be really bad.
So is this what made you a broken man?
No. The next thing is what made me an actual broken man.
Uh-oh.
This made him broken me in other ways, but it was a beneficial way.
All right, Alex, I got a couple questions. I know that you took a little time off from playing this game.
Yeah.
So do you think that like affected the way you take the game in? Because I've had this problem before. I played Ace Attorney games, and I stop halfway in, but I come back and I'm kind of lost on a few things. I mean, I know every case it's not necessary for the plot, but there are still things that once you go back in, you're a bit lost on. I just want to know, was that like a huge problem for you playing this one?
No, that wasn't really a problem for me. Usually also because the game does a pretty good job of like when you're in a new section of the case, they're pretty good at doing flashbacks. It's kind of annoying if you're like playing the whole game straight because they're showing you flashbacks of things you've seen like maybe 20 minutes ago. Okay. But if you're playing in like chunks like that, it's good to remind yourself like, okay, that's right. That person said this thing, and that's what's happening in the plot. So it kind of, that stuff helps catch you up. But it wasn't long enough for me to figure out or to remember or remind myself a lot of the big key moments that were happening as part of like the overarching plot. Because each case is kind of like segmented and is kind of its own thing. But usually there is some nuggets of like a bigger overarching story that usually concludes in that last case. But I was not lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second question I have for you is, I know you just beat the game. Do you feel comfortable enough to put this in a certain, like rank this, or you still need some time?
Like in terms of the franchise as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I know you've played all, well, 6. I don't know if you played the Miles Edgeworth one, but...
No, I have it, but I have not played that one. I played all the mainline ones for sure, though. But yeah that's hard for me to say, especially because, like, typically I play those games once, and I don't remember a lot of, like, the individual plot details in each one of the games.
Yeah.
But at least compared to the last one, Dual Destinies, I definitely like this one more than that, just because of that. The story has much more impact than the one in Dual Destinies.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
But yeah, that case was great. Not necessarily because of the way the case was laid out. It eventually got, I think at one point it got kind of a little complex. It was like this really weird like complicated shell game that was going on, and it was a little hard for me to keep track of where everything was supposed to be at a certain time. But emotionally, that thing was that revelation was A+, and then the ending is also very bittersweet in terms of like what happens and the state of the characters in the game. But and actually, they do one other new thing in the game in which they have a civil case in one of these games.
What?
Usually like a criminal case, like somebody died in a murder case, but no, there's like the first like criminal case, like this lawyer versus lawyer instead of lawyer versus prosecutor, which is an interesting take on the formula. So that was kind of a cool thing, and also another kind of crazy revelation at the time. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Phoenix Wright. I beat that game. I like that game a lot, and I'm kind of depressed because I found out that there's actually a couple of DLC episodes, which I don't know when I'm going to be able to check out, but I definitely know I want to check those out. But I didn't realize that there was already a DLC for that game. So now instead of me clearing it off the backlog, it's still there and potentially adding more onto the backlog for me.
What's wrong with more Phoenix Wright?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I have so many other games.
It's just adding to the backlog.
Yeah,
because the game he didn't quite finish the game because he has a DLC to play.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
But speaking of justice, let's talk about some injustice too.
Oh shit!
And the reason I am a broken man because for the longest time, for all like the PR cycles about this game and all the talk about all the DLC crap, and I had made a promise to myself like, I'm not going to buy this game until like, the Game of the Year edition comes out or whatever. And I caved into the hype, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy this thing day one. And
okay, I'm very curious.
Injustice. Which edition?
The regular one.
Good. Okay. But what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Like, what did you watch?
I didn't watch anything. I'm I'm a part of like a fighting game Discord. Yeah. And usually I've been doing like Street Fighter stuff and doing the occasional tournament that they run. And a bunch of people are talking about Injustice, and then people are, tweeting about stuff on my Twitter feed, and I'm seeing Injustice all over the place, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to get in on this. I don't want to be left out. Yeah. And I bought into the hype, like literally. Yeah, like it sucks. But I enjoy this game very much. I've played the story mode through completion.
With who? Story mode is with everybody?
Yeah. It's you jump from character to character.
Okay.
It's actually really good. I like it. I like the story mode a lot. But yeah, I guess to talk about the story, it doesn't do the multiverse thing like the first game did. So you're only in one time or one universe, and that is the alternate version universe, the dystopian universe where Superman becomes a bad guy and tries to, be like Minority Report and stop all crime before it happens and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of continuing from the end of the first game where I guess Superman is taken into custody, put in jail, and then kind of picks up from there. Yeah,
it's following the comics basically.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't read any of the comics, so I have no idea where that lands. But yeah, the story mode is cool. There's no like mini game stuff like there was in the first game, so you're just doing like there's a cutscene, and then that leads directly into a fight with one of the characters. Each chapter is usually around one character. I don't know if this was done in the Mortal Kombat X, but there are a couple chapters that are a pair of characters. So two characters will kind of team up, and then each fight you can usually pick which person you want to fight as for each fight.
That's interesting. No, Mortal Kombat X does not do that.
Okay. So yeah, and here like the first team up is like Green Arrow and Black Canary. They're given a task to do, and they're on this mission, and then and then each cutscene is kind of customized by which one, but it's not like there's any branching paths. Although there is one branching path at the very end of the game, and it's pretty obvious when that happens. When it's like, okay, I'm picking one side versus the other. And one thing I was not expecting is that there are two endings to this game. There's kind of like a good ending and an evil ending. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I picked the good side first, and then I went back to chapter select and play the other mission, which you can't do right away because you have to. I found out that in order to get to the other side first, like to access either the good or evil side, once you picked one or the other, you have to beat all the other fights. So because you can choose which character for certain fights, that only counts as one fight. So you have to go back to those original chapters with 2 characters and pick the other character than the one that you initially picked.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, the chapter select menu keeps track of like, okay, you already did the Green Arrow versus Bane fight. Now you have to do the Black Canary versus Bane fight, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But you pretty much have to do all of those in order to access that branching path to the other ending that you didn't get. And the good ending was kind of what I expected, but man, that evil ending, I was not expecting what they did there. It's kind of a thing that they did. I was like, holy shit, they did that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They maybe overstepped some boundaries. I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy, but I really enjoyed the story mode. It's like, I think it's like on par with any of like the DC animated stuff that you might have seen.
Oh, that's good.
It's pretty good. Like, Justice League type stuff. It doesn't hurt that, you have a lot of the original voice actors as well, like Kevin Conroy as Batman, and I think it's Tim Daly as Superman in this one as well.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I think so.
Yeah.
He does the voice for Superman and Justice League Action, and that's current. So
cool. But yeah, that the story stuff is dope. I actually was playing the Injustice mobile game as well, and actually they have some story stuff in there, but only like the first chapter, but they straight up have the cutscenes from the console game. So if you want to get a taste of the beginning of the story, you could do that in the mobile game too. Or, go to freaking YouTube, because people already ripped the cinematics for freaking everything already. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, people got no patience, man.
No.
Like, already, god damn,
yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I did a couple of online stuff. I joined a guild, and this game straight up has loot boxes in it.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about. Like, I'm fine with the loot boxes, but I don't know that I was mentally prepared for the loot boxes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that exists in the game, and I'm almost certain you can like pay straight up real money for them if you wanted to. But yeah, there's some like free to play stuff in there where you earn in-game currency and other things like that. There's no like energy system or anything that I can see, but other than the story mode, obviously they have all the online stuff. They have in other like single player stuff, they have this multiverse thing, which is kind of, I guess, like the next version of Star Labs from the first game, and like the Mortal Kombat Tower from the Mortal Kombat games. It's just, here are some missions to do. You get rewards from it. You get experience for your characters. I'm not sure why you want to get experience. I'm assuming when you level up, they get their stats increase so that they can do more damage and stuff. And some of the gear that you get from the loot boxes has level requirements, so it kind of pushes you to try and level up those characters so that you can then equip all the cool gear that you get. Mm-hmm. But man, I don't know. It feels like it might take a long time to get characters up to like level 20, which I think is the max. Because I've done like a few matches with like with Robin in the multiverse, and I think I'm only like level 4 with him right now. And I was like, man, this is gonna be a grind, especially if you want to do it with all the other characters.
So I wanted to ask, I know you've played the game, and just from the difference between 1 and 2, is there any character that really stands out to you in this one?
In terms of who I want to play, like I'm kind of interested in Supergirl and Robin at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard some people saying like Supergirl is kind of good too for people who are coming from like Street Fighter. I'm not sure exactly why. I think maybe she has like some like Shoryuken like moves or something like that. Robin looks like just like a cool character in terms of like things that he can do with a sword. And he's got like weird batarangs, like they go up and then they loop back over and then they go towards the opponent, and it kind of is like a little fake out. It's a weird thing, but as far as characters I want to play, those are them. There are a lot of characters that are from the first game, and they pretty much play very much like they did in the first Injustice game. Mm-hmm. Although I have some like questions. I know there are like character skins that kind of replace the model. Like Supergirl can be changed into Power Girl if you wanted to. But I'm pretty sure you have to either purchase that skin or get it from a loot box. I just don't know how many other characters they do that with. I know of a couple. I've seen a couple. They you can see, like, if you go into like the character customization menu, you can see different shaders for the characters. You can't see gear though unless you have or own that gear. So you can't see like what's like available even. But shaders you can, and the skins you can.
I can confirm at least in terms of the alternate characters, well, costumes, there's 5 current that's announced.
Yeah.
So for Supergirl, Green Lantern, Captain Cold,
yep,
and a couple others I can't remember.
Cheetah as well.
Yeah, and Cyborg. That's the other one.
Yeah, he turns into Grid.
Yeah. So I want to know, how does the facial the face stuff look in this game? Because I know Mortal Kombat, NetherRealm games are really questioned with the character models, especially their facial features. Yeah, so like, I've seen it and it looks a little strange just from a video. Like, so how was it like in game?
I think it looks really good. I don't know if that's just me getting used to it, but I've seen other games, like the last game that kind of, I don't know if they're using the same exact technology, but I remember like Infamous Second Son had some of that like facial scanning technology that it looked like super realistic. But like a lot of subtlety is like conveyed in the facial animations. Like they got some real good nose crinkle in these animations. Like that's not a thing that I would expect to see in a video game, but like it works to really good effect in the game. Even though I know most of the cutscenes are like pre-rendered cutscenes, but they're pretty much using the in-game engine anyway. But yeah, that stuff really looks good. Some of the faces themselves don't look great for the characters that they're portraying. Like I think you and me had a conversation offline where we're not super happy with the way Superman looks.
Yeah,
like the face is fine. It's just I don't know that is what Superman would look like.
Right.
Or that's not what he looks like in my head or whatever, my head canon. But yeah, most of them are cool. I enjoy looking at most of these characters. They look really nice. Like Green Arrow has a really dope mustache as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that mustache on that man.
Yeah, it's kind of what he's famous for, which is funny enough. Yeah.
It is rendered in spectacular detail in this game.
He also has a cool super. Like I know you didn't really talk about those, but there's some really cool supers in this game, just that I was able to see.
Yeah, I'm actually not too hot on most of the supers. They're like, I'm kind of like, whatever. That's all right.
Yeah. I think Green Arrow has my favorite one, funny enough. That you brought it up. Yeah. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's fine. Trying to think what else to talk about the game. I've only played like one online match, and I got rope-a-dope by Darkseid. I was not expecting this.
Interesting. But
I was losing. Like, obviously the guy was better than me, but something hit my soul when this last game happened. So he had hit his super on me before in another game, but this last game that we played, and I was pretty much only playing just because it was like part of the daily challenges. Like, play 3-player matches. I'm like, all right, I'll do that. And it was towards the end of the match. He hits his super. And if you've seen Darkseid Super, like it starts out like he shoots out those crazy laser beams all over the place.
Yeah.
And once they connect, then he hits you with the super. So he hit the super, he launched it, and then the beams go like up and off the screen. And I'm like, okay, he missed. And then I'm going to go in to attack him. But those motherfuckers came back from off screen behind me and nipped me in the heel. And I was like, what?
Wow.
That's not how that's supposed to work. I thought I had to punish, but I was punished in turn. That didn't feel great. So I don't know. I might have to go into the lab and figure out how that super works, because that seemed unfair.
As a fighting game fan, that seems broken, but as a comic book fan, that seems accurate.
Yes. Yeah.
That's exactly how they work. But okay. Yeah.
Pretty much can change direction anytime.
Yeah.
Like to pretty much track you down.
Yeah. Oh, I also, just real quick, the George Newbern who voiced Superman.
Yeah, he voices Superman.
He voiced him in Justice League Unlimited. So the voice actor right after Tim Daly.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I knew it sounded familiar. I just wasn't sure. Who is this? I don't know. But yeah, you definitely get Justice League vibes off of the cutscenes and everything.
Okay.
The only other major thing I want to touch on is there's a guild system in the game as well.
Yes.
So I think Mortal Kombat has done something similar where you can join factions and stuff online.
Mortal Kombat X has a very similar system where they have about 5 or 6 factions.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know how it works in this game, but in that game, every week, like you play who gets like the highest faction level, and then you would get some type of skin or unlock.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't delved too deeply into the guild system here, but I know there are things like once you join a guild, there are guild like objectives or challenges.
Yes.
That kind of pool together, like, okay, as a guild, you guys have to get like launch or land like, I don't know, 125 supers or something like that. And then once your guild does that, then everybody in the guild can get rewards like loot boxes and other things like that, and currency and all that shebang. And then I think there was mention of something like there'll be occasionally like guild bosses where the bosses have like a huge like health bar, and then everybody has to do damage to the boss, and all the damage is like cumulative across everybody in the guild. So I don't know. That sounds like it could be a cool event. I just haven't seen anything like it yet. And it does tie into the multiverse. There are like guild multiverse events. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in there and other things to do. Especially if you're like a casual player of the game, you don't have to go online and, grind ranked or just unranked matches and just get your ass handed to you by everyone else that knows how to play the game. Because I feel like I don't know the game yet, and I'm trying to figure out who I want to play as. I'm not sure yet, but because I think I only kind of learned 2 characters in the first game, and that was a little bit of Green Arrow and more of some Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, again, any of those skills I learned are pretty much transferable to this game because they pretty much play almost identically in this game. I think there are though some new systems in this game, like you can meter burn yourself to escape out of the air. So like if you're being juggled in the air, you can do an escape and kind of do a combo breaker to get yourself out of that, which I don't think was in the first game.
I don't believe so. No.
And you have a roll now as well, which is also meter burn, which I'm almost certain that was not in the first game. So you just basically double dash, you dash forward or backwards and then hit the meter burn button, and then you do like a huge roll. You cover a lot of space on the screen. I forget how much it costs. It's either 1 or 2 bars of meter, but that's another like I guess offensive or defensive maneuver that you have at your disposal. But other than that, everything else is the same. Clash system is still intact. Yeah, hold back to block. I didn't realize. I don't know if First Injustice does this as well, but to block low attacks, you only have to hold down. You don't have to hold down and back.
Oh wow, I don't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can block cross-ups, I guess, unless they're overhead, obviously. But yeah, that helps you from being mixed up in this game, which I'm sure a lot of that will be happening, especially with a lot of teleporting characters and shit. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with Injustice 2 so far. Story mode was great, and I look forward to getting into more trouble with the game. I know I'm going to be scared going online because usually the way I play Injustice is very casually. I'm not sure how far I'm going to take learning the game, although I kind of would want to learn one of these NRS games to some kind of competent level because the juggle system seems very interesting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm having fun with Injustice 2. It's really fucking good so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Especially for like if you're a casual fighting game fan. There's a lot for you to do that's not fighting other people. You can just, grind out loot if you wanted to, or do the multiverse stuff after you finish the story mode. And I feel like it's one of the more approachable fighting games next to Street Fighter.
All right, cool.
So now I have to ask, would you recommend it to, let's say, a person? I'm not necessarily me, but I would fall in this camp. But people who feel like they want to wait for the complete edition.
If you want to wait for the complete edition, that's probably the way to go. But if you want to get in, like if you want to be competitive, obviously you should be jumping in now and getting a feel for the game now. But if you're only interested in like the story stuff and like the single player stuff, like, and you don't necessarily want to get on board now, like it's probably best to wait till the Game of the Year edition comes out. That way you'll have like all the DLC characters and anything else that they throw out there. Probably some added bonuses as well.
Okay.
But yeah, as it stands right now, it's everything is there in the game for the most part. There are DLC characters on the way, but other than that, yeah, it's if you had to buy it now, I wouldn't slight you. It's great. I did the same thing because I had to. But yeah, like otherwise, if I didn't want to be in with all the cool kids playing Injustice 2, I would have waited for whatever the complete edition Although it does suck, you have to play story mode to unlock Brainiac. That's the only unlockable character.
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
The game does give you an option to buy Brainiac if you don't want to play story mode, though. I don't know how much he is.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I got to say on Injustice 2.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks, man.
Yep.
Hopefully that could sway some people that are listening. You want to make the decision now or later. Yeah. I think if I do wind up getting this game, I might wait until a more complete version comes out.
Yeah, if anything, like if you haven't played the first one yet, like it's pretty much out everywhere now, or at least on PlayStation 4 and PC, which are the current stuff. So if you can get that game cheap and get a feel for that game style now, if you wanted to.
It might not be a bad idea because they have like a super mega ultimate complete edition of that game for like $15 or something. So I might want to picking that up. But all right, so we're gonna move on to Khalik. What you got for us, man?
Yeah, so I mean, I took a chance on a game that I played the previous version of. I bought Dragon Quest Heroes 2. The original Dragon Quest was made by the guys that make Dynasty Warriors. And the funny thing about that one is I really thought that they did a really good job of making that game not a Dynasty Warriors game. That it felt closer to an action RPG. And I thought it was really cool. Like, story is pretty basic. It's I mean, for people who've played Dragon Quest, it really does feel like a Dragon Quest game, like a modern. Well, the first one felt like a modern age Dragon Quest game, and except that they had these levels that were almost reminiscent of Dynasty Warriors in the sense that you would be dropped into the level, and it has some sort of size, but then that's pretty much it. And I thought the game was really cool. I thought the humor was pretty nice. It got the spirit of Dragon Quest. And so I purchased 2, and it's a little different. Where if the first game felt like a Dragon Quest game trying to be a Dynasty Warriors game, this almost feels like a Dynasty Warriors game trying to be a Dragon Quest game. Where there's a lot more. It's almost like these giant hub levels where you walk around and then you can link to other areas, and sometimes going to other area triggers a fight. But there's a lot of, instead of random encounters, there's just a bunch of enemies on the map that you can fight at any time. And they and they respawn. So like that's pretty cool. And the thing with this game is that, unfortunately, I understand that Dynasty Warriors people are working on it, so originality may not be the greatest thing. But they're using some movesets from the first game and swapped it to different characters. And I've only played a little bit of the game, but it's like it's very noticeable. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if there's an axe character in the other game, and that axe character they refuse to put them in this one because they want to keep using different heroes. But the issue is, the way Dynasty Warriors works is it's like any RPG. An RPG series have certain skills that translate through other games. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, or 4. The character may learn this skill at some point. And with Dragon Quest games, most characters tend to learn the same stuff. So this character has a very similar moveset to the other character. Mm-hmm. And some of her special moves are almost identical, which is a bit unfortunate. But the biggest thing about this game that, while I don't think I could recommend it, because I feel the first game was just a better package. Like, when you play action games, the thing you care about the most is the hit. Sometimes the weight of the hit. And I felt that in this game, the hits they feel like they have less impact. Or maybe battles don't mean as much anymore. I mean, it's interesting to describe. I mean, I know I'm talking around in circles, but it's almost as if, they took the weight of every move is kind of lessened. I guess because there's so many enemies around the map that it's just easier to fight them. Mm-hmm. So, okay. But that, unfortunately, that's really... It sucks because I think that it's just kind of average. I don't think the game's bad. I don't think it's necessarily bad. And there's some really cool stuff there because it does feel like you're playing an RPG. Oh, well, you could do these quests where you could find this monster. You could recruit the monster on your team a little bit. And you could train up. And this game actually included classes for your main characters. So you can actually switch classes and have them use different skills. Okay. And I think that's super cool because the last game had 2 main characters, but they have virtually the exact same moveset. Well, this one, there's 2 main characters who are cousins. One has dual swords. One is a traditional sword and shield. But they just work differently. But then the problem becomes when you change classes, when you change weapons, it seems like the character moveset is just swapped and there's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, that's kind of defeats the purpose of making two different characters. Like, outside of that, the Dragon Quest stuff is super cool. Like, I like Dragon Quest enough. I've always thought it's interesting, like, the Western version of Dragon Quest tries not to be like Final Fantasy. So it tries to add this weird, it's almost medieval humor. Like, you're playing a medieval game and it knows it's campy and they kind of go with it. And that's all like really fun. And I think some of the story is very basic. It's a very basic story. You know, heroes try to defeat the foe. I wouldn't say it's anything too original.
Mm-hmm.
But the characters that come in, sometimes they're like really awesome. And I almost feel a bias in a way because I do like the art style. I mean, it's the same artist that did Dragon Ball. But I also think that there's enough differentiation in his designs in these games that it doesn't look the exact same. Like, I think it's really cool. I think it's cool. But yeah, I probably put in like maybe like 10 hours of this game. I don't know if I'm going to play anymore right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Because I don't think the game is terrible at all. I just think it's mediocre.
Nothing else about it is pulling you back in.
Yeah. Like, it just introduced like 2 new characters, which actually have 2 new movesets, I have to say. But I'm just not really seeing why I should come back.
Okay.
I mean, it's also like, I guess I'm playing Nier at the same time, which is, I feel, is more of an action game.
Yeah.
And so when you feel some of that action there, you come to this where it's a lot more arcadey and a lot lighter. It almost feels pointless to do battles. Like, it takes away the purpose of like main battles because you could just beat a ton of enemies quite easily. But I don't know if that's because I'm still early in the game. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know yet. Yeah, really solid. I gotta say, I do have to give Omega Force credit, like Koei Tecmo, for actually trying to make this more of an RPG. Because you have your party of 4 that you can switch at any time, and you do level up, and you can alternate like what moves they have, and they have certain, depending on which weapon you equip, certain skills would automatically set there. And I was like, that's actually super cool. But the action is just really bland. Like, it's really bland.
Is that the majority of what you're doing in that game?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the formula is pretty. You start in a town, and you go through this giant, almost a field, same way you do in an RPG, where you walk through the field to the next town.
Mm-hmm.
And there's maybe some side quests in between. You might talk to some people. Some things might happen, and there's a lot of back and forth. And I said, okay, but beyond that, like, what's really here? Like, the customization, it's interesting, but it's not that deep. So I can't really say, yeah, I mean, the action is what you want to come for, and some of the animations are cool, but it got really boring really fast.
That's a shame.
Yeah, this is one thing I do have to say, that I've done a few mini boss fights that were actually interesting, but I thought they were a little harder than they were in the previous game. Okay. That made it more challenging, because it did feel like a boss fight. It felt like a real traditional boss fight that some of the old game had. But I think early on, this game does way better job, because they probably know how to make this game this time. But either way, it's a cool game. I mean, graphically, it's fine. I don't think it looks any different than the previous one. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really. I can't really say anything bad about it, but there's not a lot great.
Just kind of middle of the road.
A very middle of the road game. I really think that if you were interested in checking this out, wait for it to go on sale.
Would you say it's like only for Dragon Quest fans, or maybe Dragon Quest curious people?
If you're curious, yeah. I really think if you're familiar with some stuff of Dragon Quest, it gets the spirit of that right across.
Okay.
Right across. And I think the game is pretty okay, but some of that, I wonder if it's because I played the first game. Like, maybe the first game, if I didn't play the first game, would I like the second game more? I'm not really sure. But I do think if you're curious, I would give it a look. I would wait for it to go on sale. I don't think it's worth $60 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's possibly a good $40. This a complete package. That's the thing. Like, it's the actual complete package of a game. I just don't think if you played the previous one, you should probably wait off. But it has that Dragon Quest feel. It feels exactly like a Dragon Quest game should feel. It's cheesy in the way those games are. And all of that came across fantastically.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everything else is kind of like, I have a hard time describing it because, again, it's just almost whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feeling I had playing the game. It felt like whatever. Like, this game doesn't need to exist because the first one does. It's different enough, but not if you've played the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the best. That's really, what I can really say about it. So yeah.
Cool.
All right, Frank, what's going on with you?
Well, there was a crazy flash sale going on this past weekend on PSN, and like 80% off for any of all these games, and I'm like, okay, let me just calm down. Let me see what's going on. And one of the games that I saw, I was like, wait a minute, I remember playing this game so long ago for the PS2, and I missed this game terribly. And I decided to pick up Twisted Metal Black and play it again.
You know what? I don't know what this says about me, but I would never have expected you to play this game.
I agree.
Like, ever.
Why not?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's just like the tone of the game, or I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Frank game.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, it's Frank. at least the time I've known you, I know that you've never. I know you like kind of an arcadey thing, but I never really thought you were big into like car-based games.
Aside from Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Well, I actually spent a good part of high school playing Twisted Metal 2.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, no, not high school, junior high school. Spent a good portion of junior high playing Twisted Metal 2, and with my friend Victor. He always used to kick my ass though. God, he would wreck me. It was so bad. Like, I had to use Minion.
Did he kick your ass blindfolded though?
No. No. But he was part of that group of friends. So,
okay.
So I think he was one of the witnesses to that too. But
beautiful.
But yeah, so the reason why. So we play Twisted Metal 2 a lot, but the reason why Twisted Metal Black appealed to me at that time, and I'm not sure how in depth that you guys have played this game, but for its time, like, the stories, man, like the storylines were what drew me in. Like, okay. they were like really twisted and just weird, and
I get it.
And yeah. and they were like, for its time, I'm like, wow, like, some of these stories are really messed up, and so that's what motivated me to play the game through and, beat the game with every character. And yeah, I don't know. I just had this like this like wave of nostalgia hit me when I saw it was like $5 or like $4 or something like that on PSN, and I just picked it up, and I'm like, oh.
Is it on PS4 or just PS3 still?
PS4.
Okay. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I thought it was only out for PS3, but okay, that's cool to know.
Well, no, that's a different game, Alex. Twisted Metal Black only came out for PS2, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought they had ported it over to 3 at one point.
Ah, okay.
They did. I'm not sure if it was like it wasn't classic? Like a remaster. What's that?
I think it was maybe a PS2 classic or something.
Yeah, it is a PS2 classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if I should really explain the controls and the stuff for
who's your character?
Like a 10-year-old game. I like Roadkill and I like Spectre.
Okay. I don't know who any of those people are.
Yeah. Roadkill was like basic guy. Roadkill was the guy, I don't know if you guys remember the stories in detail, but Roadkill was the guy who had amnesia, and he didn't remember how he got into the prison.
Okay.
The prison somehow inexplicably, that all of the inmates, that all of the people in this competition were in the same cell, but they didn't.
What vehicle does he drive?
The normal car. It's like a Mustang.
Okay.
It's like a Mustang with and his special is like the most regular special of them all. Like, it's just a missile.
Okay.
It's just like one missile that it's slightly it's like a homing missile basically, but it just packs more power. But I like him because he's really balanced and he's not like too difficult to control. But The one thing I did not appreciate about this game, and it still kind of holds true, is that the game was hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was very difficult to get through it, especially depending on the character that you used.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had some difficulty, but I was able to beat the game recently, like today, with Roadkill, with Spectre, and with Outlaw. So,
Okay.
So, Frank, can I ask you? I know you've played this in the past, but like, does this game still hold up for you? I mean, I understand there's like nostalgia attached, of course.
As far as fun factor, yeah, it's still a lot of fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy amount of fun to play, and you know, I you know, there's not exactly people playing it right now, so I wouldn't be like, yo, you want to come over and play Twisted Metal Black? This game's like 13 years old, but like more than 13 years old. It's like probably like 16 years old, but at the same time, it's still a lot of fun. And again, the reason why I wanted to play through the game again is just to experience those stories. And I know I could just go to YouTube and watch them all straight through, but I think it's more rewarding to just do it yourself and, you know, experience the messed up stories that these individuals have. And it's still good. It's still a lot of fun for me. But I will say there are some things that don't hold up. Obviously, like the graphics don't hold up anymore. Yeah. And you know, the controls are also like Twisted Metal physics are
weird.
Are super weird. Like super weird, but it's supposed to be like, you know, again, arcadey and fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like, you know, kill anything that moves and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Twisted Metal because again, the stories and the music was really good, like with the stories, and the music in the arenas were great too. But yeah, it was all like back in like, I think it came out in like 2001 or something like that. But like back then I was like blown away, you know, by this game. I'm like, oh my God, this is like Twisted Metal for the next generation, you know, extreme play air guitar, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, Twisted Metal Black, it just like hit a really big note for me back in the day. And yeah, like, you know, surprise. But yeah, I did play a lot of Twisted Metal in junior high. And it was fun, and it still is fun as far as me playing it just now. But yeah, and again, I don't know how in depth you guys have played Twisted Metal, but it's just something fun to get into. Just want to knock out, like, you have some time to kill, you want to knock out like 2 hours, just driving around and blowing shit up, and experiencing like crazy weird physics. But, yeah, I recommend it. To people that haven't played it by now. If you haven't played it by now, what? How?
Yeah, I missed out. Like the only way I've played any Twisted Metal is through like PlayStation demo discs of like
oh really? Oh my God,
Twisted Metal 2. Yeah.
Twisted Metal 2, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I mean, I also got freaked out because I found out Sweet Tooth is like a serial killer as a kid.
Oh God, is he?
And like I didn't know.
What, you thought he was a friendly ice cream delivery man?
Well, I thought he was just a scary clown. He was just a scary clown.
No.
And then, like, as a child, I got freaked out and said, no, he's like a massive serial killer.
Yeah, he's a crazy serial killer.
The only other thing I know about that game is there's a dude that's like bolted to like 2 giant ass wheels, and he can't
Axel.
leave. Yeah.
His name is Axel.
Of course it is.
I get it.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's Axel.
How apt.
Yes. Yeah.
Axel, because this is your life now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's been in all of the games, I think. And him and Roadkill there's been like a version of Roadkill in every game. Spectre, Axel, Mr. Grimm, the guy on the motorcycle with the skull.
Okay.
He's been in every game. Sweet Tooth, Minion, it's been in every game. But yeah, I like that they changed Minion to a helicopter this time around. That was a nice twist.
In black?
But yeah, in black, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Sweet Tooth is a massive serial killer, Khalik. Like,
good to know.
Spoilers for a 15, 16-year-old game, but the dude is so fucked up that for his ending, right? He was just like, he basically wanted to kill Calypso. Calypso is the guy who organized the tournament.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And so he wanted to kill him from the very beginning, but he's like, you know what? He also wanted to get rid of the curse that he has with his head burning all the time. And one of the other characters in the game gave him that curse. It's the preacher.
Oh,
So the ending, he says like, okay, so where's my prize? And Calypso gives him this like serum, right? And he says if you drink the serum, the curse will be removed. But if you kill again, then the antidote will wear off and you'll be cursed forever because it's the only serum. And Sweet Susie's like, it took me all about 10 seconds to make up my mind. So he crushes the serum and he kills Calypso. And then he's like, now I'm going to be the best there ever was. And then that's the end. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
I'm like, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, it was just so fun, man. Like those endings were crazy. But
yeah, I didn't know the Twisted Metal lore just went so deep.
It does, like only for Black. Like the other Twisted Metal games, no way. Like they barely had any story going into it. But
I remember seeing some of the story stuff from like I think like Twisted Metal 2, where it's just like I think the cutscenes are just like these comic book strips almost.
Yeah, basically
like
they paste these images onto the screen where the background is moving around doing shit like explosions and shit like that. Yeah,
and man, they looked bad.
They sure did. But I mean, when Twisted Metal Black came out, people were like, whoa. And I will say that they actually put a good deal of work into the storylines this time around. So it's like actual lore, like with Twisted Metal Black. And I think they were trying to like jumpstart Twisted Metal, like with this reboot of sorts. But
take it seriously. It's not some just dumb 90s shit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, there's still like a lot of the endings are still pretty campy. Or a lot of the characters are still kind of campy, but there are some like characters that are like, oh damn, you got the shit end of the stick with this one. Like this is fucked up. You know, the shit that happens. So, and I mean, if anybody's interested, you can just go on YouTube. I think there's probably several videos of like all of the character stories from beginning to end in order. So you can just go ahead and watch those. And just be mindful that the graphics were like 2001, so it's not going to be the greatest. But the stories are interesting. I think it's like pretty well written stuff. So for its time, at least. But yeah, that's. I just wanted to talk about Twisted Metal Black. I just got a huge nostalgia trip off of the game, and I'm like, it was only like $4, and I'm like, okay, because I always wanted to own it in some capacity. I just never actually owned it for PS2 or 3. But yeah, so. That's it for what we've been playing, right? And we're going to move into headlines. And Khalik is going to take us through them. And take it away, by all means.
Thank you, Frank. And as always, you can always follow along on Easy to Geek's website or in the show notes with every article, the topic we talk about today. So, first up, and I know this is going to be a nice one for Alex.
Okay.
So, a new Kickstarter game has been announced by Nana Onsha, the developers of Parappa the Rapper and Vib Ribbon. And Enos, is it Enos?
Enos? I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but now my interest is piqued.
Yeah, so let's say Enos, the creators of the Wendan games or Elite Beat Agents, stateside, and Gitaru Man, they have joined together and launched a new Kickstarter for a game, Project Rap Rabbit.
Yo. Uh-oh.
Dude, I mean, yeah, and the article here explains that it's going to be a mix of Japanese folklore, artwork, and hip-hop battles, or rap battles. And you play as Totomaru, a guy, a farm boy who has to rap battle his way to save 16th century Japan from some type of calamity. That's not very clear. So it is to show a little bit here of what you're going to be able to do in the game. And it seems like these rap battles will give you choice on how exactly you want to disrespect your opponent and win. So you can boast, joke around, or just like not even acknowledge what they've said. And it actually changes how the flow of the battle will go after that. So, I mean, it sounds really cool. I mean, so far they've raised, well, the whole goal, they need 1.1 million and they've raised about 10%. Like they're currently at 104,000. Yeah. And I think like by average, it's about $75 per backer. So so people are really, really getting behind this game.
Yeah.
There's 30. Yeah, so there's about a month left, and I mean, if you guys are big fans of it, you should really check this out. I mean, guys, how are you guys feeling about this crazy news? Because I know we talked about rhythm games quite recently.
Yeah, like I think it was like late last week where the first image of this thing and the name of it dropped, and that was when I got really excited. I was like, oh my god. Just because Innis is involved. Like, I really couldn't care less about Nanaonja being involved, because Innis, for me, has made, like, my favorite rhythm games, like, ever. Like, Guitar Man, the Wendan games are freaking really high up there in terms of rhythm games. And I've been pining for them, waiting for them to return to this genre that they have pretty much perfected in my book. Because ever since, like, Elite Beat Agents and Wendan games, they've kind of disappeared off the map. They started making lips for the 360 and doing other kinds of, like, I don't know, other projects that they were working on that's maybe wasn't entirely their own. And I was like, oh man, well, I can't wait for them to come back. And now they are. And then I found out that this was actually a Kickstarter. And then I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. Because there's a chance. Well, I don't know. We've been over this emotional roller coaster, I feel, before with other, like, especially Japanese developers launching very highly anticipated Kickstarters for games. And that has me a little bit worried. But knowing me, I'm most likely going to back this thing anyway in the hopes, just because I need to know. I need to know what this is going to be. And that rap battle system sounds kind of cool, because they say they're, like, influenced by basically the BioWare games with their dialogue wheel choices, and you can choose how you want to respond, like what emotion, like, oh, do you really want to be boastful, or you want to, like, really make this man feel deep in his soul that he is not worth anything? I don't know, but on paper it sounds really interesting. I just don't know how that's going to come to fruition. But either way, I need to know how this turns out, better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, especially since I love the idea they said Rhythm Game 2.0, where it seems like they're trying to reinvent the genre, or at least bring it into the modern era. I'm really curious. I mean, it's so early. We don't even know what's going to happen with this game.
Also, I don't love on their Kickstarter, they're like, let's make rhythm games great again. And I'm like, I don't agree with that slogan. That's kind of been used before. Maybe not. Let's not use that. But,
maybe not in those particular words.
Yeah, I get the sentiment, but yeah, that carries some baggage with it.
I don't know. Maybe it's lost in translation. Who knows?
I hope so.
All right. I mean, Frank, you got anything to add?
Well, actually, I got my hands on, digitally, I got my hands on Guitar Man, so I'm trying to get into that.
Oh my God. I wish I could be you right now.
Wait, is that available digitally?
Yeah.
On what?
On Vita.
Well, all right. Well, I guess I got something to do now, but okay, thank you for that.
So, but yeah, I have to get into that. If it's basically what I want to say, if it's a rhythm game, I'm in, especially because it's kind of taken over 50% of my gaming life. So yeah, if it's a rhythm game, I'm in, and I just can't wait to see what this has to offer. There's been a lot of hip hop influences in games in general, like not just lately, but just in general. And this is just another one, and I hope to see. I'm eager to see what they do with it in this regard. So.
Yeah, especially because like Parappa, the remaster came out recently, and that doesn't hold up well now in 2017 gameplay. So
yeah,
to see this, hopefully this does the genre justice.
Yeah, I'm also curious as if they'll use more modern styles in the game, modern rap styles. Because I mean, rap has changed a lot since Parappa has come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like very curious if they'll have trap music in the game, which I think would be probably one of the best video game levels of all time if done correctly. Yeah, so hey, who knows? Okay, so moving along, Wall Street Journal has reported that Legend of Zelda will be coming to smartphones in some form. So we don't know if that's a port or actually a new title that's going to be released. It's also saying that when it does come out, it will be following the Animal Crossing title that should be coming out the second half of 2017. And Nintendo and mobile company Dino won't really comment on like what exactly that means.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it looks like we're already getting news of the next Nintendo title coming. Well, there's also an announcement that the Pokemon company is working on a new card game app I'll assume for Pokemon. So that's
okay.
That's going to be really interesting. It looks like they're still leaning into it. They're still trying to do a few things here. I think Zelda is a very interesting title to do it with. I think even Fire Emblem made a little more sense to me than a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But I understand it's the IP and you want to really just make some money out of it. So, I mean, I don't know. So what do you guys feel like about this? Like, are you guys excited, or I imagine it's just a lot of curiosity going on?
I'm ambivalent towards it. I understand why they would, because like Zelda is probably super hot right now, but I literally have no idea what a Zelda mobile game would be. The cynic in me wants to say, "Oh, it's going to be another gachapon game," and I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll wait to see. But I'm still waiting for that Animal Crossing because that's going to be the true crack.
Like, it's funny you bring up gachapon because for Fire Emblem it makes sense because it's still a Fire Emblem at the core.
Yeah.
But
you had
Zelda,
that whole huge cast of characters.
Yeah, but Zelda games, it's usually one guy who's playable at least.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of very rare exception, like it's only one type of game. So
Yo,
I don't
Khalik,
know.
I got a 5-star tingle. What you got to say about that?
Nah, please don't do this. Please, you know I have a problem. You know this is my crack. Like I can't do this. No. I mean, funny enough, I'm not the hugest Zelda fan. Like I missed out on that franchise, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna lie. I would like to know, would I try a gachapon game version? The answer is probably yes, knowing me. But you know,
It's almost like a definitive yes. Like what kind of games like these have you not played?
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna move along because unless you have something to add.
Nah, I shared a sentiment. I literally have no idea what what the point is of having a Zelda game on the smartphone. But hey, they apparently they trust the idea and they trust the marketing to make it, so that people notice. So we'll see what happens. That's all I can say.
Dinero or rupees. A lot of rupees coming in.
Yeah. You gotta purchase that big wallet first.
Oh yeah. Literally my least favorite part of every Zelda game. Where I was like, look, you gotta spend all your cash to get all the cash.
Doesn't exist in Breath of the Wild though.
One day.
Mm-hmm.
One day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving along, we got some studio news. We actually got a lot of studio news. Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. So Square Enix has decided to drop IO Interactive.
Son of a bitch.
Or
you
rather,
tell me this is going to be bad news. God damn it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, very sorry, Alex, but they've decided to, end quote, withdraw, meaning that they will not be using the studio any longer, and they'll now in their discussions to sell it to a new investor. So the company still exists at this point, but they will not be taking the Hitman franchise. I mean, IO's only had one IP. They only had Hitman, and it seems that the latest Hitman game didn't sell as well as they needed it to. Like they recorded $43 million working on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. And I mean, I saw a number somewhere else and I wish I could pull it up, but this game sold probably, it really did sell like more than 100% less than the previous Hitman title. So it wasn't something that they were really looking for, that they could make a lot of money out of.
Mm-hmm. And
it sucks because IO Interactive, there were ideas that they were going to do a season 2 after season 1. And they have nothing to say at the moment because they're still going to be making video games. The company's not necessarily shut down, but at the moment, that's going to be in the current end of the Hitman franchise. So Alex, I mean, I know you played the recent one. I know you're a big fan of the recent game. So how's it hitting you?
It's not hitting me great. I wish this was not happening because, they were kind of talking about season 2 plans, not concretely, obviously, but I was very much looking forward to a season 2 of this. I'm very disappointed. I'm sad. The part of me is like, I don't know how much of this is like Square Enix's maybe unrealistic like goals for this. Cause I remember when, I forget which Tomb Raider it was, but they said like they were like one of those Tomb Raider games like sold really well. at least from like, everyone else's perspective, but they had expected like a huge like turnout, and they had, written it off almost as like this did not meet expectations for them.
Yeah, it was actually the first.
I think it was 2013.
It was 2013 where I believe they wanted it to sell 4 million or 6 million, like really some insane number.
They wanted to sell 6 million, and it sold like 4.
Yeah, like it did fantastic numbers.
Yeah, but not to them, apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, I don't know if it's like that is part of this. Like maybe they just had unrealistic expectations for this, or maybe because the episodic model for this particular Hitman game worked against it. Because I know a lot of people, like myself included, were like, that sounds like a bad idea. I don't want to play an episodic Hitman, but I think they did really well with the episodic format, and I think this game was perfect for that format. I just don't know how it did like sales wise for them, but based on the information we have, it's probably not that great. But they did say they were working on season 2, so I don't know. Like, I don't know what to feel. But either way, I'm very disappointed. I hope that the Hitman franchise doesn't go away. I hope that it exists in the way that it is now, because this current version of Hitman is fantastic, and I want to see more of it.
Yeah, I thought like Hitman franchise is weird because I don't necessarily know how well these things have ever sold. And I remember Absolution coming out, and it seemed to do okay in terms of standards. So it was pretty clear that they wanted to go a different direction with this franchise. It seemed to be a bit of a gamble. And from critical acclaim, everyone seemed to love it. But, of course, it's always back to sales. It's always back to sales, and that's really all that matters. So yeah, we'll hope everyone can stay on their feet and no one lose their job.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll hear from IO Interactive in the future. So, I guess in more bad news, I feel like this is like an Alex-centric like news art like time. Just like,
oh my God, my heart.
Putting the sadness on you. Yeah, so basically BioWare there are sources saying that BioWare Montreal is being scaled down, and the Mass Effect series is currently on hold or hiatus for the moment. So doesn't mean that Mass Effect is gone forever, but a bunch of the BioWare Montreal people were transferred to EA Montreal to work on Battlefront 2, which isn't really great. And now after that, it seems like they're not getting rid of studios. They're not like downsizing. They're just scaling it down. So it seems like it'll be a smaller studio from now on. It's too early to know. Yeah, and I guess after the blowback of Mass Effect Andromeda, it sucks because they did promise that there's going to be a lot of updates for the game to improve the experience. I don't know what that means for that stuff yet. And it's a bit unfortunate. I know this game has some critical problems, but it's always sad when a studio goes, especially a big franchise like Mass Effect. And like who knows where we go from here. I would like to hear you guys' opinions, like especially how you guys feel about it.
I'm a little disappointed. I did have issues with Mass Effect Andromeda. I hope that they would kind of go back and fix the game, at least in terms of like the bugs and some extra polish that the game definitely needed in the end product. I hope that at least they're able to do that. I know they said they're kind of like filling a support role right now, so hopefully they're still working on patching the game if there are any other outstanding issues. But yeah, it sucks that the future of the Mass Effect franchise is on hold because of this. I guess this one game. I don't know, man. It's disappointing, but I know it's business. Hopefully we'll get more Mass Effect and an actual like great Mass Effect game again. Because I need it in my life.
Yeah, unfortunately, you might have to just hold on for Dragon Age or whatever's happening with that franchise at the moment. Yeah, it's a big IP. I really feel like they'll try to use it again really soon.
Yeah, and also the main Edmonton studio has been working on this new IP for like forever now, and I know a lot of people are anxiously waiting to see what that is and how that turns out. But hopefully, that is also very good.
Yeah, the project code name is Dylan, I believe. So it's
okay.
Yeah, so who knows? Whatever happens to that project, it's too early to know. Hopefully, we hear something about that really soon.
Yeah. All
right. So next up, let's get off Alex for a minute. Let's talk about Frank. Yeah. So we got a trailer for Sonic Forces. Previously the trailer showed, I believe, the classic Sonic and more the modern day Sonic, and a little silhouette of a new character. And it seems like this is going to be, the character will be, this character creator You can put your own fan insert character into the Sonic story. Now, they have there's a trailer that shows like the character creation and the different classes featuring Wolf, Rabbit, Cat, and a few more that have a bunch of different abilities. And yeah, so, I mean, it seems apt since Sonic fandom has always wanted to... They have a lot of created characters online, a lot of fan characters. So, I mean, Frank, I gotta just bounce off you. Like, how are you feeling about having the ability to create your own Sonic character?
It's about time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about time. It's from a business perspective, it's probably one of the smarter things Sega has done in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That, there have been, it's not exactly original, but it's smart because there have been like other games that have done it in the past, like wrestling and like a lot of, there are a lot of different games. Why are they escaping me right now? But at the same time, Sonic has always been something that like, whoa, wouldn't it be so cool? Like if you were able to like make your own Sonic character, because they're all so like colorful and, well animated and stuff. And a lot of people, there's that market that they haven't tapped into until now. Like Mario Maker is like a huge example of an entire game made up just for people with creativity and imagination to make up levels, based on different like Mario games, on all the different Mario games. So it's something that it's about time. And, we'll have to see how it works, because I'm not exactly in love with the whole... I read somewhere, I don't think it was this article, but I read somewhere that this made up character that you make up has a very important role to play in the story. It's pretty much pivotal, like that you play as your created character in this main story.
Okay.
And I'm like, but
well, I mean, that's kind of the hope, right? That you would create a character in hopes that he's actually important to the plot.
Important, yeah. I don't know. It just feels kind of like hammy. Like it feels kind of like, hey, now Sonic can't save the world without you, and I'm like, ugh.
Well,
it sounds kind of reminiscent of the South Park games, the recent ones. And you're just creating this random kid who's like just moved into the neighborhood, is like now the coolest thing
super influential. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know I really don't mean to talk about Dragon Ball here, but it does really remind me.
Oh, yeah, Dragon Ball is another game I was thinking of.
Yeah, this does.
Xenoverse.
It really does sound like Xenoverse, and where they kept creating Dragon Ball games to the point that I think a lot of people got tired because this plot, like the basics function of how it works. And in those games, you create a character who is pivotal to saving the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's important to the universe. And the thing is, we don't know too much about how this is going to work since we have like two Sonics, and necessarily are you going to go through like timelines and alternate, realities. It's interesting, but like that's what immediately comes to mind. And it's probably something they should have done years ago.
Maybe.
Yeah,
more than a decade ago.
I don't know how big of a deal this is in terms of like the overall gameplay, because everything we've seen so far in the trailers has been like fairly standard stuff that we've seen before in other Sonic games. So I don't know, unless there's like some other big thing that they haven't shown yet. If this is what they're hinging this game on, I'm like, I don't know if that's enough.
I wouldn't say they're exactly hinging on this, but it's definitely I would say it's definitely like a welcome addition
for sure. Yeah,
to it. I don't think they're trying to hedge their bets on this, but I think even they realize like, oh shit, what about create a character in a Sonic game?
This feels like the first time like that the Sonic Twitter account is actually kind of influencing actual Sonic games now.
Yeah, they're actually listening.
Yeah.
Sega's actually listening. And, I also feel like, and I'm not trying to upsell, but I also feel like with Sonic Mania coming out, like maybe, this is a good move. Like Sega's actually like going outside of their bubble.
Yo, did you see that Flying Battery Zone trailer?
Yo, I saw all the Flying Battery Zone trailers. The one with Knuckles was dope.
Yep.
It was Sonic and Tails. Yo, I can't fucking wait. I'm so mad that it got delayed, man. It's supposed to be coming out next month.
You should be
glad. I gotta wait 3 more months.
You should be glad. Or you'll be like
I played the demo at PAX. It was great. It was great. But yeah, I think that this is definitely something that should have been done a long time ago, and we'll have to see. but I agree with Alex to a certain extent where it's kind of like you've seen pretty much the same stuff. Like, I don't know if it's something that they can like add to that would make it a little more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, this is probably a bigger discussion, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that Sonic has a gameplay problem. Not that the gameplay is always terrible, but it's very similar throughout his whole career, with a few variations in terms of spin-offs. And I don't like that's. I think that's what they need. Hopefully, if this game is the same as the other 3D titles, it's going to be real unfortunate. Mm-hmm. Like something needs to happen here. Like a Sonic Mania is a good look, but it's still a Sonic game.
Well, that's like the other thing. That's the other way they're hedging their bets is that they have old Sonic, and he's got like the old style 2D levels too. So if the 3D stuff isn't like roping you in, then you've got the old 2D stuff, which should be
stuff. Well, I will say that for Sonic, like Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors, the 2D stuff was a little awkward.
Okay,
it didn't exactly control as good as the classic Sonic games did, but it was, it was there, and it was not. It was a nice touch. I would say it was a nice touch, but it wasn't really like a. I would say like it being there, they could have kind of like put that time and effort into like making the 3D aspect a little cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ironically they've lost the sense of like what made Sonic so great, and it's the speed. And over the years, I mean. And like there's never been like a 3D game at least that has had like a great sense of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the closest was Sonic Unleashed with the Sonic levels. Mm-hmm. Like if you know the level inside and out, and you can just go, and then you have a really good sense of speed. But besides that, there really hasn't been anything that has captured that, and that's what I think they need to work on. I think they need to like make nice, clean, wide open levels and with not a lot of obstacles, and just give him his speed back. And then that'll be something that'll draw like a whole bunch of people in. I promise you.
Make Sonic fast again.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that wording, but sure. Like I feel like speed is. I mean, that's one. I think you're right, Frank. I feel like the speed needs to be amped up to a point that you really feel like you're going insanely fast.
And maybe at this point we're not there with technology yet. Like
it's generally hard to do in like 3D games in particular because you have to like load in the scenery, and you can't always do it.
You can't do it as fast as he's supposed to go. You can't do that. Not yet. But that's what it's missing.
Yeah.
I think generally. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue your point.
Yeah, no, I was saying that it's something that, one, it's not just a control issue, it's more of like just perception, like how a person can perceive what's going on. Because like you want to be able to control it, but if he's going to, like one, there's a lot of factors with speed, like motion sickness, just control, like you have to know what's going on.
Yeah, unless you also have to study the level. Like with like the older Sonic games, you didn't necessarily have to study the level because you knew if you saw like a loop with a giant ramp going downwards, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna spin dash all the way.
Yeah,
and it'll kind of take over from there. I'll just traverse the level that way. But yeah, with the 3D games, it's just difficult. I know, but that's what he needs. That's what the franchise needs.
Like, I have to say, I do like Sonic a lot. I mean, I won't say as much as you, Frank, but I am a fan. I've always been a fan. I've just always felt that these games, there are certain issues that are just unavoidable sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, there's something interesting about them, but there needs to be hard reinvention. Like, when I think of the big mascots, like Mega Man has reinvented itself way more times successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of reasons for that, but like I feel like Sonic's whole deal is very strict, and Mario's a guy who's flexible. Like he's almost like an actor. Like he always shows up in all these things. But I feel like with Sonic, you either improve the genre to a great point or completely do something very different. Like there's no other way.
I know, and it's kind of like it's kind of a start with them. I mean, they tried with Sonic 4, and that was a mess.
Yeah,
but that wasn't like a reinvention. That was just kind of back to an effort to go back to basics,
mm-hmm.
and that didn't really work out. And I feel like with Sonic Mania, it's a back to basics in the way that everyone wants, like fan service. So we'll see what happens with that. But Sonic Forces is supposed to be like an evolution with Sonic Adventure, the Sonic Adventure games, because all of those games are like evolutions of, you know, the past games. So Sonic Adventure, Sonic Unleashed, and so on and so forth, like Sonic and Black Knight, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. But yeah, like they're all kind of like stuck in this Sonic Adventure sort of rut where they all play like the Sonic Adventure games. They're just, you know, better, a little more updated, but not much has changed.
Yeah, but the foundation is not great to begin with.
Yeah. I feel, just stay with me for a minute. I feel like a Sonic character action game is legit the way to go. Where you make it easier. No, hear me out. I'm not saying Bayonetta, like, because Bayonetta has a skill curve to it. That's a little extreme. But I feel like their combat is, speed and combat are needed in Sonic. They're precedent. Like, they need to be around. And I feel like with so many characters who do fight, like, you play the adventure games, like, it's there. Like, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's, like, the change enough that you could do something with it. And, like, keep the speed, but somehow, like, create a fighting style around that. I mean, that's all hearsay, but I just feel like that might be, just make it a more accessible type of game. And you might say something like, oh, that's what Sonic Adventure is. I'm like, well, not really. I mean, parts of it maybe, but ultimately, it's still a Sonic game at the core. But that's when you get like weird janky stuff, like all the Knuckles missions in those games. Like it's all weird, which is it's interesting in concept, but in execution they were always difficult and kind of shitty. Just to say,
time consuming.
Like, yeah,
you were time consuming, man. But so character action. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. But yeah, I feel like kind of to your point, like it's kind of been done in a way in the Sonic Adventure games. But I will say like that in general, trying to reinvent Sonic in the way that, and I for lack of a better term or a better way of saying it, and reinventing him in a way that he's not supposed to be reinvented has always yielded terrible results. Like the Werehog in Sonic Unleashed or the Sonic RPG, Sonic Brotherhood. Yeah. That was awful. And the, well, I would say like maybe like Sonic Spinball is like an exception because that's like, you know, that was back in the 90s. It was for its time.
Don't talk bad about my Sonic Spinball.
No, Sonic Spinball is great.
Yeah. Well, there's also stuff like Sonic Battle, which is like the GBA Smash Brothers like game.
Right. And then there's also
Sonic Shuffle.
Sonic Shuffle?
Yeah, Mario Party like game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Yeah.
God. That was awful. God. and then there was also like, I will say like Sonic Riders those games were good because those games had that sense of speed that he needed, but in the setting was kind of off. You know, like why do they need vehicles? They can all go that fast naturally, but at the same time, that's fine. So
yeah,
but
I mean, in secret, the best Sonic game in recent memory is Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing Transformed, which is legit might be the best kart racer of all time.
Whoa!
No, I'm dead. No, dude, have you ever played it?
No, I haven't.
How have you not played this? This seems like right up your alley.
No, it's like for real.
I haven't tried it. No, I haven't played it.
It's just Mario Kart with Sega characters. I think legitimately the sequel, All Transformed, might be one of the greatest kart racing games ever made.
Wow. I heard that there were like problems with the game. That's why I didn't try it. Actually, I played a demo of it at Comic-Con a few years ago. Like I think the first Comic-Con I ever went to was 2012, I think.
Okay.
And they had a demo of it before it came out.
So that's why I said Transformed, because I've played the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And Transform, I mean, it adds a few more characters, kind of changes the balance. I think it's a lot more difficult, and that's what's really cool. That it feels like a more difficult Mario Kart where you need a little more skill. And I thought it was honestly super interesting game. Really solid on certain points. Some stuff is shit. Like there's a little bit of that, but I really thought like that's the second option to Mario Kart. And it might be the best Sonic game made in the last 10 years. I'm dead serious. Like it's that good. It was on a Vita, if you want it. I mean,
that I remember that it was.
Yeah, I got it for free there, and just trying it there, I said, "Oh, this is a real game." Honestly, so Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I know they've tried. It's just like I'm like you in that sense. Like I talk a lot of shit about this series, but I really do want it to succeed. I just need.
I do too. I'm open. I'm open about wanting it to succeed. It's just that there are definite problems that need to be addressed, and the created character. Getting back to the main point of this whole thing, the created character is. It's a step in a direction. It might not necessarily be the right direction, but it's a direction, and where they go with this direction remains to be seen. But at the same time, I feel like they are going to tap into a market that has been waiting for them to do something like this for more than a decade. Mm-hmm. So we'll just have to see where they go with this, and they hope it doesn't fall flat on its face. At least with that aspect. Yeah.
Like, same here. I'm hoping for the best. I really hope this game is really good. I just need to see a little more variety. All right. And so to wrap it up in our fighting game corner of the week, because we have
got away.
We almost got away with it. Almost, somehow. Yeah, so Kotaku in the Gizmodo Media Group ran a little event in New York City. Can you beat an esports champion, I believe? And so you had to, basically any and all challengers could come in and try to fight the Street Fighter V champion. And this being like Knuckle Do. And there's a few blocks here. This article shows a few cool videos featuring Smug and going against Sanford Kelly. Sanford Kelly, very infamous.
That was the best video.
It is. I should have started with the good stuff.
I need to see that.
Oh, well, if you watch it, basically Smug demolishes this. I shouldn't say too much more, but
I mean, you could. It's fine.
It's in the article. It's in the article.
Yeah, Smug completely just tortures Sanford Kelly, and
the title of the video is "Match Ends in Rage Quit."
Yeah, pretty much. Like at the last second, so he stunned Sanford for the last round. He stunned Sanford because Sanford kept jumping in too much. Mm-hmm. So he stuns him. Once he stuns him, then you see the PS4 home screen come up. The dude just disconnected his controller, and you see him just walk out.
Wow.
Like he just walks right out, doesn't shake his Smug's hand or anything, just walks away.
That's not surprising coming from that man. Yeah. He's known for that stuff.
He's a pretty salty dude.
Yeah. I mean,
I actually played with him in Chinatown Fair. Mm-hmm. A couple of times in like Capcom vs SNK 2 and Marvel vs Capcom 2. Yeah, he was salty then. He was salty then too, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few more videos here. I mean, there's a couple of note. There's Justin Wong going against this Ibuki player.
Yeah,
and this guy,
pretty good.
This guy, I believe his name is Chris Hu. He streams online a lot. Apparently, he's really good with Ibuki. And man, he goes the distance with Justin Wong. I believe he beat him. And
he loses, but he beat him one match. So
that's what happened.
So it was down to the third match,
dude.
Down to the last round.
Yeah, thank you. And dude, I gotta say, his Ibuki combos were insane.
Yo, his Ibuki combos were dope. His only problem was that like he didn't have like his footsies were great, his mix-ups were amazing, but he didn't know how to approach.
Mm. Yes, so like
that's his only issue.
Like there's many times where he would drop the bomb. Yep. And it especially happened like the first half of the video where he just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, you see him just like standing there and like he just keeps trying to like pressure at the wrong times. And if he just knew how to approach, he could have beaten Justin clean. Cause once he got him in the vortexes, fucking shit.
Dude, that's like honestly that's some of the best vortex game I've seen in Street Fighter V.
I was like, God, insane. Kid he was really good. But it was just his approaching, and Justin had him. He had him in the bag because you notice as soon as he finished those mix-ups, those amazing mix-ups, if he didn't close out the round, then he wouldn't know what to do, and then Justin would just come back slowly.
Also, we have to note that Justin was playing Cammy, which apparently is not his main character, Street Fighter V. Yeah, so he was just messing around, and I thought he was pretty good. Obviously, you can see some of the stuff, like he was dropping a few combos.
I mean, it's Cammy.
Yeah, I mean, you just do stuff and it'll work. So it's kind of fine. But man, yeah, like after seeing this, I hope this guy gets to some major tournaments because he is so good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah,
because
like at first I'm like you know, because they were saying like, oh, he has pretty good footsies, because you know he was like trying to approach, and he was being at a safe distance. So it's like, oh yeah, he's got footsies. And then you know Justin beat him, I think, the first round, and then that second round in the first match with those fucking mix-ups, yo, I was like, whoa, my eyes bugged out. I was like, whoa. Fuck. Like really fucking good. Watch the videos for yourself. Like seriously, this dude was really good. And I guess moving on, I just wanted to say that the Knuckle Dew and Dominion match was good too.
Yeah, Guile versus Guile.
Yeah, yo, it's like a fucking fireworks show.
Gotta be. I think it's my favorite Guile.
So many
mirror
sonic
match.
booms,
dude. They were going the distance. Like that
yeah,
was.
They
like,
were canceling all the sonic booms, and I'm like, God.
It's like when you see a martial arts movie and they're even. Like they at certain points, just seem like, yo, these guys are straight up the best Guiles. Like they're insane.
Like so many sonic booms, dude. Like EX sonic booms and V skill sonic booms, and I'm like, what? It was a fucking fireworks show. I've never seen a Guile versus Guile match that exciting.
Yeah,
like a Guile versus Guile match is never like that, and I'm like, yo, that was exciting as fuck.
I actually really like playing that mirror match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's probably all about sonic booms, man. You can throw them out so fast now.
Yep.
Like when you see Guile, like I just like I always remember like Street Fighter 4. I even said in the video, well, like you just remember him as a zoning character. So if a mirror match happened, it probably won't be that exciting.
Just waiting.
But man, these guys were just attacking each other. They just keep going at it. I'm like, yo, this is amazing.
Yeah, anytime they started throwing sonic booms, I'm like, yes. Throw all of the sonic booms. They burned their entire meters on just canceling out sonic booms with each other. I'm like, fucking shit.
That's not the hypest thing. Is like they kept using their V triggers and it did nothing. Like it didn't do anything for either of them.
One would use a V trigger, and then the other would just like throw all the sonic booms and V skills just to cancel out all of the sonic breaks that the other one that was V triggered was doing. Dude, crazy.
I remember there was one where I was like, yo, Dominion is dodging. Like he dodged like every sonic boom except the last one in the V trigger.
Yeah.
Like he did like 5 of them. Like, yo, this is insane right now. Like I couldn't handle it.
It was exciting as fuck, and I'm like, I've never seen a Guile versus Guile like that exciting. So yeah, it's definitely good to watch. And of note, Knuckle Dew was the only pro that on the bracket that lost.
Yeah.
So spoilers, he lost to Dominion.
Yeah.
But it was down to the last match.
Yeah, there's another video. There's actually another article linked in there, basically explaining about the match. And Dominion, he talks about how he helped almost, I guess, train Knuckle Dew. I don't know if that's the right word. But, you know, he shadowed him in some sense. But they just have two very different styles of playing Guile. So it's just there's always a really interesting match. And yeah, I mean, in the last match here there's a match between Smug and Knuckle Dew. You know, it continuing this simmering rivalry.
It's rivalry, yeah.
Yeah,
Knuckle Dew used Mika.
Yeah, used Mika, and, you know, Smug used Balrog. And man, I gotta say, I know Balrog could do like stupid damage. But yo, there was this one, he did like that turning hook. It's like, more than like 25% of the bar is just gone.
Yo, he caught him so good.
He countered him.
He caught him so good. Like Mika was going for a command grab. You saw the command grab animation come out. Motherfucker Smug did the fucking turn punch just in time to avoid the command grab. 25% of his life gone. I'm like, ooh.
One punch, man.
That hurt.
One punch,
that hurt.
Like legit, that was like the most sobering hit I've ever seen in Street Fighter 5. Like, oh wait, this is real.
That hurt.
Even like James Chen was like, oh damn.
that wasn't even full power either.
No.
And actually to end it on like a light note, they had a match earlier with Justin Wong. He played this little kid, young kid, playing Chun-Li. And Justin Wong, you know, he was a gentleman. And he beat the kid, beat him down, but he let him get some good hits in. He definitely did.
I've always known Justin to be like, yo, these kids, they gotta learn.
So
they gonna learn.
If you watch it, it's like, all right, I'm letting them go. I'll let them have a good time. But nah, I gotta win this because I got some bullshit in here. I gotta beat this kid up. Like these lightning kicks are fun.
I almost lost to some other dude. I'm never losing again. The kid's like 10.
You got to get that salt early. All right?
Yeah.
Get the salt early so they learn. Let them learn. You're going to be salty for life. That's the only way you can get good at fighting games. Man. But yeah, I mean, I feel I knew this was happening, and I wish I was there to see it. I mean, since it was in the city. I mean, it was an all-comers thing. So, anybody could have walked up. Real cool.
Yeah, man. That's why I put the article there, because I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope. Like, they've never really done anything like this before.
Yeah.
And like, especially not, I would think in New York would be like the one place to do it, if not California. But yeah, like it was so cool that you can just like come one, come all, like take on the best of the best.
Yeah, dude.
At least in New York. It's like, yo, I'd be there.
I mean, NLBC exists. That's like a weekly thing they do in Brooklyn. So if you really wanted to get that action, you could do that. And they have the similar thing in the West Coast for Wednesday night fights.
Yeah, I was kind of confused if you watch some of these videos because they bring up NLBC constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always there. So I wasn't sure if it's actually a part of it. It doesn't seem to be.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but it just kept being mentioned for a while. But yeah, I think some of this also has to do with that Street Fighter V really getting into with the community a little more. Like, at least being a little more active. Like, you got the TV events now that is becoming. I mean, I hate to say, I will not say more popular. I can't really know, but like, I wish more events like this happens. Like, I wish it's a little more frequent because this is just awesome. I think this is the best way to get people into it. At least on like a base level. Just come and challenge the pros. See where you are. Yeah. I mean, and with that, we're done with headlines this week.
All right. Well, thank you. And we're going to move into new and upcoming releases, and Alex is going to go ahead and take us through that. So go ahead.
Yeah, so for the new releases for this week, the week of May 16th in North America, first up we have the aforementioned Injustice 2, available now for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Surprise, surprise, Phantom Dust is now available for Xbox One and Windows 10 PC in the Windows 10 store for free, no less.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice that they, especially with all the drama surrounding this game and the remake that was supposed to come out, at least this port is available for free for all the I guess the anguish for all the fans that had to go through for this thing to come to fruition. So that's cool. That's finally out. Also out this week we have Skylar and Plux Adventure on Clover Island for PlayStation 4, Akiba's Beat for PlayStation 4 and Vita, The Surge for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Farpoint is now out for the PlayStation VR. Cooking Mama Sweet Shop is available for the 3DS. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicles is now available for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Overtop is out for PlayStation 4. We've also got Shadow Warrior 2 for the PlayStation 4. Tango Fiesta for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Black and White Bushido for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And, oh boy, Thumper is now available for the Switch. In 60 frames a second, no less. Speaking of rhythm games, are you in there, Frank?
I think I might be.
Search your feelings, Frank.
I think I might be. This is dangerous. Yo, that's dope. Oh, yeah. Man. And I have a Switch.
Fancy that. You also have a PlayStation 4, which thing is also available for. We're not going to talk about that.
Nah.
But continuing new releases, we also have some Friday releases this week. First of all, which is Chroma Squad is making its way to PlayStation 4.
Yes.
I think the official subtitle is now inspired by Saban's Power Rangers.
Like literally inspired by Saban's Power Rangers. Yes.
Fantastic.
They don't want to get sued.
It's a long story.
Also out for Friday is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia for the 3DS. I know that's very hotly anticipated. And finally on Friday we've got Portal Knights for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And that will do it for the new releases for this week.
And that means that will do it for this episode. So before we officially go, we would like you to visit innercitygeeks.com if you haven't already, because it's where we're located and where we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. You can view and or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Good Games, and you will find older episodes on there. And this episode is going to be on there as well. So yeah, go ahead and listen and just, yeah. That's just another way that you can listen to our show. It's audio only.
Like, comment, and subscribe, as the kids say.
Yeah. Yeah, like I should be like pointing down, but this is still audio, so it's just like, but yeah.
Draw a picture for the people.
Yeah, just a giant arrow over the logo.
There's always a down in your real life.
Always go down. But yeah, so you can do that. And you can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can also leave us a review. It's the best thing that you can do for us, whether you like the show, whether you don't like the show. Just let us know how we're doing. You can listen to us on TuneIn. You can basically also listen to us where all podcasts are available to be listened to. And I also want to encourage everyone that if you're going to do any kind of Amazon shopping, to just go to innercitygeeks.com and click on that Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the page. When you do that, it takes you to Amazon. Buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and then a little bit of that will come back towards us so we can provide more show and more content just for you. You can reach us on all of the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Inner City Geeks. The Twitter for this show specifically is at Good Game Podcast. You can also email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com, and please feel free to email, because we actually read the emails and we check. So yeah, reach out and just say hello. And with that, that is actually going to do it for this episode 151. We caught them all.
Yeah.
We caught all the Pokemon.
We pushed the truck. We finally did it.
So with that, we are going to say goodbye. And in leaving, as always, we say good games, everybody.
Good games.
Good games.